The bounty hunters. All right, scanner on, and yep, next room over somehow has 372 people in it. I wonder how that happened, Slytherin asks out loud and in a hammy tone as he opens the door and beholds the pyramid-shaped beacon he had created. Numerous small projectors on it are giving off a complicated spoof signal in the axiom. With standard technology, you'd think the room was crowded to the gills. He slithers up and presses a single button on the device and the signal fades. Right. Good. And as for the other faces, he mutters as he slithers around. The second face of the pyramid has a view screen and buttons on it in the standard configuration for communication, and the third and fourth both have a message, one in Galactic Trade and the other in Lablan Kortung, the official language of the Lablan Empire. Or rather, what was known as Lablan Kortung to the rest of the galaxy, and what was known to Lablan as the most elegant and refined tongue of the sacred Lablan peoples. The messages were simple and the same. Please do not damage this beacon. We're coming to save you. Hang tight and use the screen to the side to speak with us. To the point, polite and hopeful. He lets out a contented hiss as he slithers around a bit more and double-checks his work. Rock solid, effective, and well-made. He could drop it out of a shuttle from lower orbit, and there's even odds it'd work. There's a buzz from his communicator and he answers it. It's a text, telling him to get into his formals. The ground crew that made contact is going to be part of the unification ceremony. His part is to be in a specific place in the background and try not to fall asleep. Seems easy enough, he notes. He's not too fond of the formal uniform himself. White just doesn't seem to be his color. Browns and dark reds to complement the green on his tail and contrast the creamy color on the underside. It blurred the line between his underside and the clothes, and that made him feel like he was maybe a step or two away from streaking. And he wasn't the type to enjoy twisting in the wind. Still, he was in the formal white with the pale blue tracery of a trainee. He liked the hat, but it made him feel like everything was serious, so he usually went without. But not this time. Everyone was in the shuttle, and that includes Cindy, the infant, and Dr. Chakua. The infant has a transparent covering over her that she can easily see through, but will block the vast, vast majority of the harmful sunlight. And the dark purple and star-patterned cloth clearly has the infant's attention as she's gathered up a small bundle of it and was chewing it happily. "How's the beacon coming along?" Bike asks Slytherin, who flashes a thumbs up. "Good. You gonna need any help finding where to drop it? Or are we old fogies just going to get in the way?" "Yes, but how's that going to be any different from normal?" Slytherin asks, and he puts a hand on his chest as if pained and staggers back a bit before snorting in amusement. One of the chandelier-style shuttles has set up a pair of doorways for them to travel through, and they're quickly in the dark, dank tunnels of the children. There are 8 distinct types here now: white, blue, green, pink, purple, yellow, orange, and a deep cherry red. The 18th heir of Rauda's dark shape seems both fragile and frail, as well as deeply strong against the light of his fellows. The ambassador is an earthany with 6 antennae who gives them an intense look, but a polite nod when she sees them quickly moving into position as they follow the indications of the honor guard around them. The women in the pearlescent uniforms shimmer in the strange not darkness, and the light catches the undaunted uniforms and seems to be painting them all the colors of the children. There's some whispering among the children at the sight of the hat, who offers a friendly wave. Several of them wave back, but have rueful looks on their face. Clearly they remember panicking at the sight of him with some degree of shame. "Is it now time to begin?" the 18th heir asks. "It is," Ambassador Silken says as she activates a recording device that looks like an irregular pearl necklace, and its components float into the air to catch the scene from all angles. "We shall now begin. I am Ambassador Silken of the Lablan Empire. We are those who protect, nurture, and preserve all peoples within our territory, as per our sacred charter, as per the mandate of the most holy peoples. Upon this day, another people are set to join the highest holy empire. From their home of Mordonen, these peoples are to be afforded all the rights, protections, and responsibilities. Noble elder, describe your people and your place in the world. We are the children of the sacred ancestors. born of the immortals, without minds to hold the power of mind, of memory and thought. With us today are members of the sacred choir, the heirs of each sacred ancestor and the most mighty and trusted of warriors, those that have mastered the ways that you know as axiom. I am the 18th heir of Rauda, oldest of all the children. This season shall be my last. This cycle is my final cycle, and it is my honor to see my people reach out to become more. When the light within fades as the light without has, I will go to the final darkness in peace and satisfaction, knowing that the future of my people is secure. As is appropriate for so momentous an occasion, I shall now have the choir begin the song of knowing and seeing. For it is within the light of the sacred ancestors that too fantastical an event should take place. With their divine blessing, we shall all be filled with their strength and benevolence. By their light may all falsehoods fail, and may all that is true and good be preserved. The 18th heir intones further, before many of the slug women behind him lift their heads and hands and begin to let out each a single clear note that harmonizes together. Then there is light. Light in the hues of the children that pours into the room and synchronizes together. An 8-part beat keeps timing with pulsations along the sheer light that pours forth from above the choir, who each sing in absolute rapture as the power of the ancestors washes over them all. As everyone's eyes adjust to things going from a dim cavern to a bright noon in 8 colors, most cannot look directly at the sources of light. It's too much. Too much for organic eyes or standard orbs. The antenna of the Earthani and Drycy both serve to allow a clear view of the gigantic writhing forms beyond the portals, and the cybernetic eyes of Pukey and Slithern see right all through the dazzling light to the strange alien creatures. "What am I looking at?" Slithern asks under his breath as he stares directly at the white creature. It's definitely related to the children, but he cannot make sense of its anatomy. It's like hundreds of different giant glowing white slugs all tried to fit into one spot, and then were suddenly one thing. The anatomy shifts wildly from one place to another with no seeming rhyme or reason, and it moves spasmodically, its innumerable tendrils and tails shifting in rhythm to its heartbeat. "Check it out," Pukey whispers to him. "The pink one has a tendril breaking off. Something's happening." Slithern shifts his mechanical eye and watches just in time to make out exactly that. A tendril has, its tip breaking away, and as the creature shifts to the beating of its immense heart, the limb is cast away. Even as it disconnects, it fades immensely, and the limb begins to shift. The tendril slimming and producing, a torso followed by a head and arms as a pink baby have formed, and caught by another glowing pink woman. "They're literal?" Slithern mutters as everything falls into place. These people were not born. They were broken off from the larger creature. Buddings. They had bud off the sacred ancestors. "Looks like," Pukey confirms, and Slithern lets out a low hiss in awe. "Then in the light of these sacred ancestors, will you and your people stand as equal to the peoples of the highest holy empire? Will you be a part of LeBlanc and its vision of an orderly and prosperous galaxy?" "We shall. I have been told that many races simply use their own language to give the name of their kind. We are the children, however our word for it is Orhanis. Then to the Orhanis people, it is the pleasure and privilege for the Lablan Empire to welcome you to the greater galaxy. May this day be but the first of innumerable more to come, and may those days be filled with purpose and prosperity," Ambassador Silken says, and she holds out a claw for the 18th heir to take. His damp and soft hand clasps her hard claw with a strength that belies his advanced age. "Welcome to the wider galaxy, my friend. There is wonder and wealth beyond imagining here. Then hopefully we may bring some wisdom to that wonder and wealth." The 18th heir states with a nod, "I can only hope that we bring as much to it as it can bring to us." "I have few doubts you shall," Ambassador Silken states, and with our hands clasped, the official ceremony has finished. "Good. Now I imagine you have many questions." The 18th heir says, even as the choir lets their voices fade and the portals to the sacred ancestors fade away. "Yes, first among them is about your traditions and considerations for the child that had once been in the care of a Dilly Emerald Shell," Ambassador Silken states before turning towards Cindy with the infant. "What is the proper manner of dealing with such a child?" This child is newly made, their only true relation being the ancestor Asva. They broke away not long ago. When this governess asked many things of Asva and the child, we took it as good providence and a caring heart. We offered to allow her the duties of rearing the child. The 18th heir says, scotching up on his tail and reaching down to place a gentle hand on the head of the infant. There are many who would fulfill their duties proper to rear this little one. Yet there is a question I must ask. What is it? Cindy asks. Are you willing to take up those duties? There is much for we, the children, to learn. And you are a healer, are you not? You are smaller, too. You see things from a perspective different of others. Are you willing to guide and teach this child? To show her the wisdom, wonders, and wealth of the galaxy? The 18th heir asks, and Cindy gasps. I would be honored. I have an adult son and an egg soon to hatch. I also have a husband and sister wife. Then the child shall not want for family, the heir states with a smile. Do you possess questions? How is she to be named? What is the proper way? Cindy asks. The proper way is your way, however the parent decides. Emerald Shell chose not to name the child yet, and heirs like myself have no name, but titles instead. However, unlike me and my sons, this child is free to choose any path she may find worthy, free to see and dance among the stars I have heard so much about. May the songs she learn be filled with wisdom and joy. May the places she go be filled with wonders and mystery. May the light of Asva she carries within her grow so bright that no shadow can stand before her. Thank you, Cindy says. Thank you, dear woman. Thank you for caring so deeply for an Orhanas. May your life with her be of joy and wonder. The 18th heir says, before he bends down and kisses first the infant on the brow, and then Cindy on the top of the head. And such are my concerns laid to rest. Have you any questions, honored ambassador? The 18th heir says, turning back to Ambassador Silken. A great many, but all of them tie into how we may best accommodate you and your people, Ambassador Silken says, and the 18th heir nods. Then I am at your disposal. Ask all your questions, then find more. I will answer them all.